Hey there, greetings everyone. It is GleeCon, and I am here again bringing you another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Thank you for tuning in. On our last episode, we picked up the quests for Nomergon with the Horde, with Talanji, our troll engineer. Really was super quick because outside of the few that we've already done on camera that are neutral, that you pick up within the dungeon, the Grime Encrusted Ring object and the escort, all there is are the mini quest chain that that's required to activate the Horde shortcut, a little portal, or and the quests to basically kill the final boss. So we're all set to go on our next episode. I mentioned that I had a work thing, so I've jostled some days around, which is why you didn't see me yesterday. And I will, yeah, there's basically gonna be I knew that I was gonna have a 4-day stretch coming up with no episodes. So yesterday I was gonna make one, but I actually started a D&D group. I DM'd my first session where I'm running a new campaign. So actually I'll kind of show you. So I'm making it in GM Binder here. This is what it looks like. It's a homebrew, so I have been really working on improving my HTML coding. So this is a D&D campaign, and again, when I finish each adventure, I will publish it to Reddit, and I'll also link it on this if any of you guys are characters. But this is an imagining of what if you wanted to play classic World of Warcraft in Dungeons and Dragons. And I know we read a lot of things about that. Some differences being this is 5th edition. And this is actually covering not just like an adventure in the game. I tried to make it to where you could actually play classic World of Warcraft, but in a Dungeons and Dragons, but not in the same way that you play the game. Because in World of Warcraft, you're making you kill some mobs, and then you turn in. You get a fetch quest, you turn in. You have a breadcrumb. You turn it in. Every quest comes, you get a slight incremental gear upgrade that you can sell or possibly wear. That setting, one, doesn't really work in D&D. Two, would be very boring in D&D because D&D is much more story driven. So I've taken the bones, the zones, the characters, and I'm making it into a D&D story. So I have a lot written on paper, which is what I ran. I ran my first adventure, but essentially I started the characters in Northshire Abbey. And this is what I've coded so far. I got a title page. The first storyline, I envision taking the party, my friends from work, through Northshire Abbey, through Elwyn Forest, and then into Westfall, culminating in a 5th level, fourth level dungeon that has them become level 5th level of the Dead Mines. And the story arc being right now, they just know that there's a connection, that there seems to be some banditry going on. There also seems to be some unruly animals, some unruly mobs, and they're kind of starting to piece together there's a connection between these bandits and these mobs. Now, they don't know there's a greater organized crime element. This is a forward that I wrote that kind of describes the setting. I did a table of contents, so I had to learn a lot of things. I had to learn how to rip code for images, on how to make cool effects like this. Now a lot of these table of contents are copied and pasted. I had to find cool images, put them in there. And then as I became better at the code over the past week or two, then the writing itself takes a lot of time. So then all of a sudden, now you're writing all of this text, and that takes a long time. I found some cool maps of the world. People have done this topographical map of the entire World of Warcraft. So I zoomed in because this Stormwind, East Elwyn Forest, Westfall area, so this will kind of serve any characters that had this book. Again, I'm writing more and more about describing Edmund Van Cleef, the Brotherhood. This is for DMs, and then I have an overview of how the episode flow will happen. So I would imagine 4 episodes, 4 milestones that would level up characters to level 5. The character in the party, I thought we would do this in one, but we played for 3 hours as a group, and we had finished Northshire Abbey, the Echo Ridge mine, but they didn't. They started setting out for the orchard, where I will start to make some of the Defius ties. I have that material made, but a lot of it is rough. The party I'm playing with is sort of the guinea pigs, and then I made a table here that gives adventure hooks that would help span out. So if that sounds cool to you, I'll be shopping it. This is now here's where I'm still a work in progress. I'm going to tweak some of this and move this picture around, yada yada yada. And I'm going to describe the different elements. So I'll describe the Brotherhood. I'll describe the kobold mobs of the area. I'll describe the gnoll mobs of the area, and then I'll describe the constructs, the harvest golems and things before this is ripped from another module so that I can kind of tweak. It's much easier if you find other homebrew stuff that's made, you can tweak it. So if that's cool to you, then I'll shop it out to you. But sorry to bother you with that, but that's why I wasn't here yesterday. I stayed late last night, and then the wife was patient with our time on a Friday. So then I got back and I was like, I will find time to make this video because I had a schedule. I really originally wasn't planning on making one today, but I knew Sunday was going to kind of open up because I had a work trip that was going to be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I'd get back Wednesday. Things have kind of tweaked around, and I can discuss it later. But all the part that really matters for the purpose of the show is I will be rolling out super early Monday morning instead, and not rolling with the cruise Sunday because that's more of a check-in, socialized thing. But I'm kind of like rooming with a stranger now, and as cool as that is, as cool as like bunking and pooping with a complete stranger is, I want as little nights of that as possible. So the work doesn't start. I'd rather get up at 4 a.m. on Monday and make the commute and do the full session that day. I did go to a cool seminar today where, there was parts of it that were cool. Again, I don't want to get too far into it, but I did get to sit in with Deion Sanders. I got some cool pictures. Got to hear him speak. So, that was a neat experience. I'm a big football fan, so it was pretty cool for that. But more importantly, for the purpose of this show, you're probably noticing that we are looking at a new cover as we continue our art book journey. So for those of you, I have a fan that did awesome, or a subscriber that did something awesome for one of my books where they tagged when my intros are over. And man, sometimes I talk a lot, not related to the content that you guys care about. So here, tag right here, because here's the stuff that you guys actually care about. This is the art of World of Warcraft. So this dropped in 2005. So stay a while and listen as we're going to dive right into this bad boy. The last one we read was the Art of Warcraft, 2002. We're about a year and a half out to 2 years away from when this was going to come out. They knew that this game was coming. Things were in the air, but we didn't cover any of. They didn't know a lot about it, really. It was all just kind of whispers. It was in production. It wasn't even probably not even an alpha build yet. So now, 3 years later, the game's out. World of Warcraft has been out, for 6 months to a year at the time this book comes out. So there's enough for them to say, hey, we liked that little art book last time. Let's keep it going forward. So this is a different site that I'm using. So it gives us a 2-page spread. It's not always a matter of preference. I don't actually like this as much, but there are some benefits when we look at a whole 2-page splash. What might hurt us is if, as you can see, they don't have the freaking pages listed in the same way. Maybe I can change that. Maybe I could say like, I don't know, 3 to 4. So yeah. So I guess that does give us the option to look at these side by side like that. 3 to 4 out of 210. Okay. That doesn't really. So yeah, I don't know. So it's kind of defeats the purpose. I thought, it'd be cool to have the splashes, but either way, let's find out what's going on in this book here. We got the races it starts off with, and they begin with orcs. So very similar to last time, where we're going to start with a racial breakdown. We don't have a table of contents or anything. It just gets right into the meat here. Okay. Then you have the orcish horde signal. Here we have an orc necromancer concept. So this is, again, concept art phase cool, but we know they eventually go warlock. They don't do necromancer. So orcish plate armor, okay. A veteran warrior with a stubbed, capped off hand, okay. A shaman concept. That starts to become maybe a little more, and then we actually get shaman arts, outfits, and armor concept things we start to see in game. There's an orc beastmaster, doesn't really apply in the game, but then if you think about beastmaster hunters, sure. A blade master. These are cool. So look at the way that the art was for the original orcs. Like this artist is obviously a unique artist, and we obviously don't really see that in the same way. But it's cool to see that origination of how they wanted to do it. There's a shaman sketch. So these are some of the things that they were generating in the beginning. Then you have a holy man. So I don't think they're orcish priests. There's an orc warrior. If you notice though, one of the key things, look at the art. To the victor to go the spoils. The spoils being like raping a human, I guess, on that one. I don't know what's going on there. I don't even know if that's a dude or a female, honestly. But the people, they've got that Warcraft 3 money now. These artists are definitely sketching out some better stuff. And you've got the in-game rendering of this new engine with the orc grunts. That does happen. An orc assassin. This is a cool art. Garona, heavily Garona featured. A bone helm, I guess they could wear. A general orc concept, 6 to 7 feet tall, noble savage, humanoid with bad posture, strong build, sloped shoulders. There's some physique sketches and a weird, like, top-knot-ish ring. And old Scarface. This is a cool CGI rendered thing, maybe from the actual game. From the original intro video, or at least made in that engine. So a very cool higher concept thing. And that's it. So so far it looks like, unlike the last book, we're looking at straight imagery this time. So this will make this book a real breeze to get through. So here we have humans and the alliance symbol. So human female. Okay, so we've got wizards and almost night elf like. We have a dual wielding, but that could be roguish. And then down at the bottom, we have them in-game with their different types of armor. A human mage, that is actually a dope picture with his kind of flayed robe spread. Human warrior, human priest, in-game rendered. A Westfall farmer, I like that he's got his bucket, a weathered knight, couple arrows in the shoulder. A marksman, so now you're getting into... Well, they didn't really have outlaw rogues back then, but I like his axe swords. More of a hunter. Although I don't think human hunters existed. So that's a cool idea that you couldn't actually have anything quite like that in game. Unless you made a rogue like that. Yeah, you can't really though. And there's a human thief and a defious thief. I like that. These are the kind of images. I actually like this. I might have to keep this book in mind and rip some of these images for my book that I'm making in DM Binder. Samwise, we know him from his previous art and from the magazine from the magazine, WoW magazine stuff. Human paladin actually almost looks like a statue. There's a hostess. She's got this Japanese theme to her. I don't think we really see that in Classic. All right, then you've got the night elf races. I don't know if this is new, maybe from the instruction manual, but I feel like, yeah, this is like cover of the actual game itself. I believe this is the image from the cover of the World of Warcraft computer box game. And that's the cool glyph, the symbol of the Night Elves. Very cool. Then you've got more of these images. That's a very, some people are good artists. not me. This even looks like a drawn, painted thing. So good. But look, that's it. That's all they're giving us. Page 24. 26 dwarves. Yeah, we're not skipping pages either. They just really didn't have a lot of concept art, I guess, at this point. So the dwarves, that's a cool symbol for dwarves. I like this blimpish, hammerish looking thing with the lightning bolts behind. You have an engineer, a lady paladin, that's what they're calling her, cool. A dwarven priest. A dwarven rifleman, now that's circa Warcraft 3, really, an in-game dwarf. A young griffin rider, and a dwarven merchant. And then we go right to the undead. So I wonder how they're going to fill 210 pages when they're blasting through the races this fast. So this is art from 2004. So this is designed for the game. I do think you can find some of these. I like it. This is really cool. It's like Sylvanas. So it's like a shattered night elf thing with the dark bird and the dark fletched arrows. That's cool. Forsaken sorceress. Again, this is maybe from the manual. A groovy ghoul. A forsaken lord. That's like almost like a lich. And the newly risen. Interesting. And then we get into trolls. That's a cool. I don't think I've ever seen such a quite zoomed in image of their decals. They might have changed this one. This one's a little bit like light. A Darkspear Primal. I don't know what that is. Maybe a mage. But they're also kind of changing druidish, like now. But there weren't troll druids back then, so a troll explorer. Okay, he looks more like a goblin. A jungle troll warrior. There's some in-game concepts, and then a shadow hunter. Warcraft 3. Then the Tauren. The Tauren, probably my favorite race. Cool little shield, like rain stick, and then big totem in the background, spears. It's cool. Too much, it says. So Tauren shaman concepts: bear hides with claw, spell bundles, kodo skins for the legs, bone chest, hanging runes. I don't know why it says too much. Like, oh, I see. The headdress is too much. So that's the none, and they add one feather. So they're like, you're going too much into this Native American. Then you have the priestess. Okay, that's pretty cool looking, actually. I think this is the art they use for the World of Warcraft board game. I think that's where I've seen some of this stuff. This is the Tauren Shaman, I believe. No. Maybe Tauren Druid. Yeah, this is the Tauren Druid image that you get from World of Warcraft, the board game. Tauren Female. Yikes. Tauren Warrior with a totem. It's not really a totem, that's a staff. Oh, that's the Tauren Warrior with the totem in the Druid concept. That is dope. That's a super cool picture. Just lugging. That's a wasted thing. They wanted to have totems in the original game. I wonder why they scrapped them, why they've never gone back to them. Because they even have like the war drum shops. There's a couple things, especially with the Tauren, where you could tell they're just like, they couldn't invest all the resources for something only one race would use. Here's the gnomies. One page of gnomes we get. The gnome warrior concepts with a samurai sword. And then some drawing. That's cool. And now we're going to get right into the mobs. So, yeah, we're just cruising through this book. We're already a quarter of the way through the book almost. There's some gnolls, two-headed. That looks like a Chris Metzen art, maybe. Two-headed ogre. There's a thistle bear. How that's different from a regular bear, don't know. Bear sketches. A Furbolg shaman. That's cool. Yep, Samwise drew that one. A dryad concept. We actually had that in the last book, so they've taken some of that. So that right there is proof that some of this concept art's existed since Warcraft 3. They're regurgitating it. A Lamia concept. Maybe they had that in Warcraft 3. That doesn't exist. I like that Centaur champion. That's a cool thing. I still don't think we've seen Centaur looking that. It's like that, totally dope. A Magnetar. I don't know if they existed in Classic, but that's cool. Yeti concept. Wendigo. Ice Troll. Furbolg. But no, it becomes a Yeti. That's cool. That's a cool concept art of a Yeti. The monsters, dragon spawn concepts. Yes, these existed already. We saw those last time. Some of these things might be coming out of that Warcraft D&D book, because remember, the D&D books existed before this did, before World of Warcraft did. An Emerald Dragon. That's neat. I don't know if they've really leaned into how awesome the dragons were at this point, because that guy looks a little janky. You got some cool dragon sketches. That's more like a dragon kin. Yikes, I don't know if I can read that. Greater Whelp. Aaron, man-sized. Some will hunt other dragons. Then something like linger their food on. I don't know, it's really hard to say. Another dragon whelp is the spread. Kind of hard to read those things. I guess I could zoom. There's a zoom button, but there's a lash-tailed raptor, a sketch of a hydra. That's cool. This is just good art. A dragon spawn. Here's the actual red dragon. That's cool. That's a cool picture of an Alex Draza-ish kind of thing. Dragon egg ecology. All right, we'll go with the zoom here. Dragon egg ecology. It says the stage of the hatchlings, and it shows that a hatchling here is as big as a human male, just about. The eggs are laid within a black something like to blend into the something surroundings. Basically, the eggs are black and stony looking. It's really hard to read that. Something confer with clans and set of wings. It makes its own. It makes its some skin harden. The hatchling will eat other metals or something. It's something about revealed or devoured. I can't quite see. Yeah, so even at the zoom, it's very hard to read this due to the resolution. I don't think the intent was necessarily even to let you read it all, but maybe. There's a fairy dragon. That's from Warcraft 3, and you have some writing there too. That's pretty cool. It's like almost like an eye cover, a muzzle cover for an actual dragon here itself. This is for black dragon concepts, a little evil. The wind serpent, I mean, that's cool. That exists in the game. I don't know if it existed in Warcraft 3. I can't remember. Basilisk and arachnithids. So kind of like the silithid, but I guess they're called arachnithid then. Goblins and hobgoblins, because they're not really a playable race yet. Look at the goblin with all his machine gun missile. That's kind of cool on the back. And there are no hobgoblins in the game, so I don't know which one of those is supposed to be a hobgoblin. Now you're getting really close to what they look like in game. That's pretty cool, actually. A goblin sapper. That's Warcraft 2 times. Earth elementals. That's like a golem. Yeah, stone golem. A goblin shredder. That's pretty cool, and those did exist. That's from Warcraft 3. A harpy concept. That is cool. That's a very cool picture. It looks cool. The face doesn't look hideous enough. Like that's they look like humanesque, not instead of like monstrous, where you wouldn't want to. Yeah, here's some old Satyr Shadow Color. That's old art. A blade warrior, a warrior woman, orc warrior woman, I would assume. It's a cool picture. This is a lot of really good art though for fans. If you're fans of the art, fans of the sketching, no reading, no lore, but a lot of cool art. Naga concepts. Yeah, he's kind of slope-shouldered. I would imagine as they move forward, and this picks up steam, these art books maybe will involve at least some text. Here's a sea giant, so that's cool. Ooze, a dragon man, that doesn't even exist. A Murloc concept. There's a giant turtle submarine concepts. See, a lot of this is things that just didn't use in the last book that are concept arts that have to have existed beforehand. So they're just kind of dumping. They're like going into their... It's almost like we want to preserve this so we don't lose it. Let's dump it all into one file. A silithid beetle, a frenzy, those fishes that come up on you while you're fishing and they just bug you. A war turtle. This one has like a giant flying ballista thing on the back. It's neat. Earth elementals. One large arm, one regular arm. This is my strong arm. Rock elementals. 2 human legs. So like, don't make that less human. Approximately 500. I'm guessing that means polygons. This is PLYS. I'm guessing that's like art asset. How much they can afford to have invested in the game. I don't know. Oh, this is like a kind of scourge type of thing. Silithid concept, and yeah, this is, or it looks scourgeous, but it also looks like the Broken. There's a venom spider giant, bigger than the hero. A tunnel worm. Those do eventually exist in the game. I didn't remember that they existed in Classic, but a Nerubian warrior. That's Metzen, drew that in 03. So we at least have some dating on that picture. We do know they exist, I think, for Encourage or getting towards there. They definitely were out in the expansion. So this could also be art coming out for the Warcraft 3 expansion, which that would have been before that, after that last book was published. So that might be why they're tapping some of this too. Bog Beast concept, a Swamp Thing. Copyright infringement. That's like literally like Swamp Thing, the Swamp Thing production. But the Bog Things do kind of look like that. Concepts of the Ancients. Those actually end up looking close to what we see in game for Warcraft 3. Yeah, very close. And we actually think we saw the sketches of some of these same ones before. This is real close to what you see in game. More monsters. I like the color palette they're showing for whatever the heck that is. Don't even know what he is supposed to be. Oh, an Eridar Warlock. Well, I don't think you ever fight those in game. That's pretty cool. And I like how they show the color palettes on the side. I don't know if that's like an artistic technique for people that do graphic work for art. Undead Warrior concepts. Just various different ones, almost like a Death Knight. I don't even know what the heck that thing is. He's like full of arrows and falling to the side. A Scourge Executioner. That's cool. A Fellstalker, we saw that art basically in the last book. A Direwolf sketch. Nice. A Darhound. I mean, those are like the Dark Hounds in Thristful, so they've evolved that. Kobolds. There's the in-game kobold. There's some Trogs, troglodytes. These look like, I like how they took this and made it look very close to what you see in the game. I hate the Trogs because they're what caused Millie to die. So I will always hate Trogs because of that. Kobolds. Earthsmiths begin the process of creating a stone golem. That's neat. A Jackal Man. Nope, doesn't exist. Magma Beasts. That's cool. I guess we still see some of those. Kobold Examination. I guess they're just making... There's some fishing. An Ogre Warlord. There's a Withered Gnoll. Those are the ones we find in Tyristful. It says werewolves to the side. The gnolls. These pictures are old. We've seen them. They're cool. They almost look Disney-esque, though. There's an in-game gnoll and more gnolls. That's cool art. The Ice Crown Gargoyle. That's Warcraft 3. A Quillbore Warrior. That's pretty cool. And an Ogre Mage. Here you have a Phoenix by Sam Weiss. I don't know if you've encountered the Phoenix in Warcraft, World of Warcraft, the first one. Vulture sketches. So now we're in Westfall and the Harvest Golem. So we're about halfway through the book, and I guess we'd now move into environments. I think this is probably a decent stopping point. We'll just this book's going to be a two-shotter since we really don't have any other, since there's no dialogue or writing to speak of. This will really I think this is probably it's a pinch early for stopping, but it's a good break point, I think. All right, so we have another episode in the pipe, 5x5, and as always, I appreciate you, and you guys rock for tuning in. See you next time on Lore of Warcraft.